Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be showing you how to improve your squat depth. If you're having trouble getting into a deep squat and you want to improve your squat depth, then give this warm-up routine a try before you actually start your squat program. What we are going to need is some type of platform to stay elevated. I'm going to be using a plyo box. Use whatever you have. If you have an aerobic stepper, you could use that. But what you want to make sure is that when you're setting up the box, you want it roughly mid-shin height. You're also going to need a Bulgarian split squat roller. If you don't have one of these, you could use something like a bench. When you are setting it up, you want to look at the head of the fibula, and you want to make sure that it's roughly at that level. Then we're also going to need some type of something to elevate your heels. I'm going to be using right over here this slant board that has different levels on it. If you don't have a slant board, you can put some weight plates under your heel. Ideally, though, this is going to be great because it has different levels of inclination that you can adjust. And we're also going to need one single dumbbell. Now, with regard to the first exercise itself, it is going to be the front foot elevated split squat. So what you want to do is you're going to take a dumbbell and you're going to hold it in the opposite arm of the leg that is going to be elevated. The reason that we're going to put it in the opposite arm is because this is also going to help with hip stabilization and stabilization of the spine. But what we want to do is we want both feet pointing straight ahead. The back knee, you want it somewhat straight at the bottom position, and you want to try and drive the knee as far forward as possible. So what this is going to do is it is going to allow us to get really good mobility in the ankle and the knee, which is something that a lot of people struggle with. It's also going to allow us to open up the backside of the hip of the leg that is on the platform, and on the leg that isn't on the platform, it's going to allow us to open up the front of the hip. That's why we're keeping the knee somewhat straight. But you want to hold this position right over here, and we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Once you've done 30 seconds, you're going to switch legs. Then what we're going to do is we are going to go into an actual high heel elevated dumbbell squat, and we're going to do a goblet squat. So what we're doing for this one, you're placing your heels all the way up on the platform, the dumbbell up against the chest and the sternum, and then you want to just go as far as you can and try and get your elbows to touch your thighs, and you want your hamstrings to try and touch your calves. Most important thing for this one right over here is you want to make sure that you're not leaning forward. The whole point of this is to be able to get that really good mobility in the ankle, knee, and hip. So by keeping the dumbbell up against the sternum, if you're leaning too far forward, the dumbbell is going to come away. That's going to let you know that you have to stand up straight. So make sure that the bottom of the dumbbell does not come away from the sternum. So this one, you get into your deep squat position, you're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Once you've completed that, we're going to do another split squat variation. This time, we're going to do it on solid ground without any elevation whatsoever. With this one right over here, because we're doing it on solid ground, it's going to allow us to get a greater stretch in the front of the opposite leg. Same thing though, both feet pointing forward. You're going to get down as low as you can, drive your knee as far past your toe as you can, and try and get your hip as close to the floor as you can while keeping your knee somewhat straight. Hold that for 30 seconds. Do it on both sides. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to switch to a low elevation. Low elevation, we're going to have to use our ankle mobility, knee and hip mobility a little bit more. The higher the elevation, the more it's going to be complementary to you if you have limited ankles, knees, and hips. So with this right over here, we're going to have to actually have a little bit more mobility in the knees, ankles, and hips in order to get down into that deep position. But same thing, keep that dumbbell tucked right up against the chest. You want to hold this for 30 seconds. Then you're going to come up. Next exercise, we are going to be doing another split squat variation. This one right over here. We are going to take the split squat roller, place it over here once again. Head of the fibula, that's where we're going to have it leveled. Whatever leg we are setting up, it's going to be the opposite arm. For this one right over here, you get in the setup position, your ischial tuberosities or the crease in your butt. You want to sit down on the roller, straighten out your legs. Wherever your heels land, that's going to be your starting position. Then take the dumbbell. You want to go ahead, place your ankle right on the roller. Then from this position right over here, same thing. You are going to drive your knee forward, try and get as low as possible so that you get a nice stretch in the front of the opposite hip. You're going to hold that for 30 seconds, do each side. Once you've completed that, we are going to do one final deep squat, and we're going to do a goblet squat once again. This one, it is on solid ground, so no heel elevation. Take the dumbbell. You're going to come all the way down. Try and get your elbows to touch your thighs at least, and definitely try and get your hamstrings to touch your calves. You're going to hold that for 30 seconds, come back up. Once you've done that, your warm-up is complete. You can move on to your deep squats. So once again, we got the front foot elevated dumbbell split squat with the weight in the opposite hand, 30 seconds each side. Then high heel elevated goblet squat for 30 seconds. Then we got the split squat on solid ground for 30 seconds each leg, low heel elevated dumbbell goblet squat for 30 seconds. Last one, we have the Bulgarian split squat, 30 seconds in that deep position, and then solid ground goblet squat, 30-second hold. Give that a try, test out your squat, see if your depth improves.